I'm just going to repeat this point because the connection was not good when I was recording it the first time. So here we have the Juno isomer 1 recognition and binding, and I said that this will lead to the block of polyspermy and the sperm sink. And in fact, I was explaining here that this sperm sink is essential uh, because when we have hundreds of sperm cells that will reach this oocyte, and they will the first one once the first one will bind to this oocyte, um, we will have the Juno that will be shed from the surface of this oocyte, and the other sperm cells will be trying to digest this zona pellucida and reach the oocyte, and some of them will reach this perivitelline space, and so they are too close to the to bind with the oocyte. So the oocyte wants to inhibit this polyspermy. It should inhibit the fact that more than one sperm cell will fuse with it and will fertilize it. So to make this possible, the Juno on the surface of the sperm cell will be shed after the fusion with the first spermatozoon, and those shedded Juno will go and bind to the isomer 1 receptors of the sperm cells that reach this perivitelline space. So now we have those sperm cells that are entering inside of the cell, inside of this perivitelline space, and if they continue, they will reach the oocyte and will bind to the Juno receptor and will fuse with it. So to avoid this, the oocyte will shed its Juno receptors. Those Juno receptors will directly go and get fixed, will be released and will get fixed to the uh, isomer 1 receptors on the sperm cells in the perivitelline space. And those sperm cells that will reach the perivitelline space, the released Juno will bind to the isomer 1 of those sperm cells. And by binding to those isomer 1, the isomer 1 receptors will be saturated by the Juno, by they bounding to Juno, so they will already bound to Juno, and they will not be able anymore to bind to this surface Juno receptors. So once they are bound to the released Juno, they can't, the receptors, they will be all saturated with the Juno. They have all Juno bound, they are all bound to the Juno proteins, and they will not be able anymore to bind to the surface of the oocyte. And that's how we say that this is the sperm sink, and this will constitute a block, the shedding of the Juno from the surface of the oocyte will constitute a block of the polyspermy also. Okay, so I just wanted to make this idea clear.